Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Recruitment Uncensored with me, Kate, and I've got the amazing Charlotte Smith, Recruitment Director at Trilogy International, on with me today. Hi, Charlotte.
Hello, Kate. You going to tell us how you're feeling today?
If you're wondering why I look like a bag of shit compared to Charlotte, it's because I'm not exaggerating. I am so ill. This is the first time since I set my business up I've had to cancel any work this morning. I feel horrendous, but I've soldiered on. I'm here for the show. Actually, I feel a little bit better for coming and getting out of bed and doing something. So this is why I look like this, basically, because I'm under the weather. But
If I
I'm
looked
here
like
and I'm
you,
looking.
if I look
Huh?
like you with a tummy bug, Kate, then I'd be very, very happy with that. So I'm sure many people will agree watching this and watching this back.
Well, if I start getting the shivers, you might see my dressing gown come on as well. Can go in hot and cold. So if it makes an appearance, that is why. But look, I am really, really excited for today's episode because there's a lot of back and forth on LinkedIn. You probably see it as well around 360 recruitment. There's no place for it anymore. And I believe there is a place for it. I think there's a place for both options. But I think with why I've always loved 360 recruitment is because it's bloody hard to make a success of it, and it's a challenge. And I think having you on today to talk about how to make a success out of it is going to help a lot of people. So let's get cracking. So first of all, why do you personally believe 360 recruitment is the best model to have in an agency?
I ultimately, as somebody that's been in the staffing industry since 2005, a long bloody time, I've always been driven by service, right? I'm driven by doing the right things by the people that we are employed to do the right thing by, right? So that's your candidates and your clients in two pockets, if you like. So when you think about 360 recruitment and service combined as the theory that I'm explaining here, if you're networking and you own a space, you've got a strong identity within a market and you own that, and you're working day in, day out with candidates in that market. Well, service level one is being able to market those candidates effectively into customers that are interested in acquiring their skill sets, whether that's on a contract or perm basis, right? And vice versa, flip the funnel round. If you are and have a great network of candidates, then you'd be daft not to be networking and having conversations with clients that are interested in buying those candidates. So ultimately, you're driven by the right things. You're driven by the right intentions. Your conversation and your confidence levels go up if you feel that your candidate and your client communities align. You'll also have many opportunities within that where your candidates become your clients become your candidates. And then ultimately you're just consistently doing the right thing by people, right? I always put out there that as recruiters, we have a bit of a shit reputation, but we don't do a terrible thing. We get people jobs. We don't sell somebody a product they don't want. We don't sell them insurance they don't need. We don't sell them a dodgy used car. We connect people, and there is a fee associated with that. And of course, the way that we're targeted means that we have to step to and we have to hustle to make that happen. But ultimately, the 360 model promotes good customer service, connecting people. And if you're doing one element really well, then why would you not connect it to the other side of the fence? I feel like you've done the hard work already. If you've got a really good candidate community and you've extracted some lovely information as a result of consistently networking and having those conversations, you've done the hard bit. Like, just connect that information into people that would be interested in that. And I think the stigma around client work sometimes puts a mental block in before somebody's even given it a go. And I actually truly believe that candidate work is harder than client work because there's more layers to it. There's more moving parts. A client will be super honest and upfront. It's a yes or it's a no. If there's a maybe in there, then, just again, prevail, do the right thing, keep networking, really enjoy and own your space. and you'll connect the dots. You'll make that work. So there's various other elements, but bringing that back, I'm driven by service. I'm driven by doing the right thing by the people that I've committed to in my space. So the right thing is connecting them, and that is 360 recruitment.
Yeah, and I think it flows. Like you say, if you've got, you can put the pieces of the puzzle together because you know your client base, you know your candidates, and so you get a new candidate go in your talent pool. Oh, they'd be great for so and so. Like it flows, there's no disjointed kind of process or miscommunication. And I think if you've dealt with that candidate and you know them well, you are going to be better at selling them to the client anyway because you know them. Like the passion is there in your voice when you talk about them. Whereas if someone else does that, they don't know the candidate. So
Yeah.
it's kind of
Yeah.
taken away, isn't it?
No, it is. And actually, if you just drive yourself to know, right? So I always say when it comes to connecting on the client side, right? So you've done the candidate work, you feel like you've connected with applicable skill sets. And again, we've got to think about how people are segmenting their markets, right? I think good 360 recruitment requires that like strong market segmentation. So you are bouncing between connecting talent pools and client pools. But, ultimately, I say if you can ring a client up and say, I know, this is what I know, right? Rather than I'm a recruiter, I'm going to make an assumption that you hire because your job title matches the key skills that I've been told match, that's subpar. You're never going to get a customer buying into that. But if that customer feels that you're well referenced, you're credible, and you are ringing them up and saying, look, this by way of association to this talent pool is what I know and have come to understand about your business, then ultimately you've warranted some respect. That doesn't mean that you're instantly going to get a yes, here's all of my requirements exclusively and have it at 25% or on an SOW, right? But it just means that you've gained some respect from that customer. And that gives you a kind of wedge, that gives you a way in to consistently network into that client with credible, well-referenced information that you've harnessed out of your candidate network, again, by being respectful and networking. And then you just get lucky because, again, you've created your own luck. You've put yourself in a position to understand that and to know exactly what it is that makes that client's hiring solutions become real relevant to what it is that you can fix for them. And again, you've done all the hard work by talking to the candidates. You understand that, you're well referenced, you're credible. So then just take that one extra step and then you're a well accomplished 360 consultant. So for me, you've done the hard work if you're doing candidate work, right? If you flip it, because there's a lot of 180 client side models, my argument on that side is, well, where are you gaining your reference from? How are you approaching these clients if you're not networking into your candidate market to gain that information, to become well referenced, and then you're just marketing into clients with what insights? That's where I think there's some challenges there. Do I think you can be very well accomplished on the candidate side? There's big industry out there and big talent acquisition teams out there, and absolutely you can. I'm a little bit more in favor on that side, that 180 side of the fence for candidates, than I am 180 on the side of the fence for clients, because again, I just don't understand where you're getting your context from in agency, of course. But yeah, I mean, again, it just draws down to you've done the hard work, connect it. You've had the conversations, connect those conversations. Human to human interaction has never been more desired. I think people are fed up with bots and automated emails and chat GPT nonsense. I think people want that, hi, this is who I am. This is why I work really hard. And this is why I'm going to work hard to add value to your business.
Yeah. So, and when you said then about the candidate side being harder, I was thinking actually, especially on the perm side, like whole process, like the intricacies to it. It's why it makes me laugh when people, you probably get this as well. You say you do recruitment, and people will say, "Oh, you just get people jobs," and it's like, no, there's so much. And some of the new groups I train, they'll say, "I did not realize there was so much involved in this job." And if you think about the journey of a perm candidate, the interview prep, managing the offer process, everything, it's hard. Like, it is really
It's really
hard.
hard. You can't make somebody take a job that they don't want to take, right? So again, we don't sell a product here. We're dealing with people. People have different opinions, and they change their mind, and their preference from a project or a skill perspective is hard enough to match, let alone a vibe when you meet your prospective new client, or your new employer, as an example. So there's so many challenges on the perm side. And then for our contract viewers, there is a bit more of a transaction there, and just by transaction, contract recruiters need us just as contract candidates need us just as much as we need them. There's that kind of mutual respect and understanding. So striking an opportunity to network can be hard, can be easier on the contract side of the fence. My background is contract. Trilogy is 90% contract business, so I probably talk more passionately about that. But perm passive candidate network generation is bloody hard work. Great candidates are always passive. So you almost have to use the same skill to break down a really good candidate as what you do to break down a potential client. So again, mirror it. Don't shy away from it. Just push yourself that one extra step, and you'll be a bloody marvelous 360 recruiter. So that's what it always boils down to with me. It's like, you think you can't do it, but you can, because you've already done the graft. So you just need a good coach or a good manager behind you to go, come on, like, you've done the hard work. You can actually make some more money out of this by doing the right thing.
Well, that takes me nicely actually to the next question I wanted to ask you, which is, and before I do, actually, I forgot to say at the start, if you're watching, you've got questions, chuck them in the comments, because I can bring them up for Charlotte to answer as well. But where do you see 360 recruiters typically go wrong?
Yeah. So my response to this is completely in line with 360. So phase one is an inappropriate market or a lack of market segmentation. So one of the things that I was taught by one of my old CEOs is you kind of do less better, right? So you have your lane, stay in your lane, build that, and that's so that your candidate pool always marries your client pool and can swap around, as we said, that candidate flip, client flip mentality. Ultimately just view people as individuals that work within the space, that have a circle, draw a circle around your market, and don't get yourself kind of drawn off to what's outside of that circle. Have a market, own your market, stay in that market. Make sure your geography isn't too vast for any international viewers or anybody that's working the US market or the European market, because again, the human to human connection, it relies on basic demographics, geography being one of them, skill to skill, hierarchy, etc. So it is our job as recruiters to kind of have a baseline understanding of that. If you've got your market, right, where's your brand? Okay, so how are you building yourself? Are you working hard to be known in the circle that you're trying to get into? I say to new starters all the time, you're a nobody, in a nice way. You're a nobody. We've given you a business, right? We've invested in you. We've given you your basic salary. We feel that you've got the minerals to be able to convert that and turn that around. Go and own it. You've got to go and become known. You've got a database, you've got LinkedIn, you've got job board licenses, you've got a LinkedIn recruiter license. We'll pay for all of that, but no one knows who the fuck you are. You've got to go and be known, and you've got to go and get found out. So branding is absolutely key. I think why people shy away from 360 and therefore kind of go wrong in it and then start going, oh, I think I want to be more candidate orientated or more client orientated, because it goes either ways, is they're not quite clear how to connect those dots. And usually when I coach around this, and I'm sure you see this all the time yourself, Kate, is it's they struggle to understand where their value is. If it isn't, I have a live job or I have a live candidate, they don't quite understand the value of being able to network with people and what value good networking can bring. So again, any kind of team leaders listening into this, are you enabling your team to understand truly the art or the game of recruitment and how that is
Being strategic.
Yeah, just kind of understand it. The strategy makes it sound like it's one-sided. Actually, I think when I started to grow as an individual, and I got into recruitment really young, so it took me ages. Like I just did it as I was told for many, many years, and I was bang average. When I started to go, right, if I communicate and work hard and research in these areas and stay in my lane and you know, back then, like, branding wasn't as big of a thing, right? But
Yeah.
you know, when I had that light bulb moment, that's when my career started to elevate, because I was looking at it through the lens of the people that I was speaking to, rather than my grubby recruitment consultant lens, right? I was going, this is what candidates want to know. So I'm actually going to work really hard to find that information out. This is why clients hate us. So I'm going to stop being that and actually work really hard to demonstrate why I'm not what they think I am. And I'm going to really passionately defend that, because again, I think it's just the way that I was raised. Like, if I feel like I've done a good job, you're not telling me no. Like, I will make it really clear and get you to kind of understand what I can do for you respectfully. You know, you don't need to be pushy in that. You just need to be good. So yeah, lack of market segmentation, really not understanding that you're a nobody and how much work goes into becoming a somebody, and not really clearly understanding the value piece through the lens of your candidate, through the lens of your client, and therefore tailoring your approach. I think what would be an example of that is like when we use recruitment terminology with a client or a candidate. That's not how they communicate. That's not their world. We have to work.
It bugs me because it's like it creates almost like a wall, an invisible wall between you, doesn't it? Because we're not in their world then. We're talking about our world, and they don't get our worlds, and quite frankly, they don't really care about our worlds. They care about their world. So yeah, glad you brought that up.
It's our job to adjust to them, because that's the world that we're trying to become a somebody in. And you have to work bloody hard to be able to connect that. And I think one final point, which I think we've kind of said, but it's good to summarize so the viewers can make a note of that, is don't view BD as just speaking to clients. Candidate business development. In fact, I kind of hate the word BD, because it's like if you're in recruitment, business development is everything. Like, everything is business development. Looking at a news article, LinkedIn Recruiter, looking at a CV, any conversation you have is an opportunity to business develop. So if you constantly just think that way, you take your blinkers off, you know, your 180 blinkers become 360. Again, that visualization that I always say with people that I work with at Trilogy is like, look to the left of you, look to the right of you, what else can you see? Because that often is the difference that will make the difference and enable you to start succeeding in 360.
Yeah. We've had a question, which we're a bit short on time, so if we could cover it off really quickly, from Louis. Which market do you think is tougher, perm or contract?
Louis Johnson, hello, my friend. Different for different reasons. Very political answer. I think perm as a 360 recruiter is tougher Facts, facts. That's how I feel about that. Why? Because it's harder to make your permanent candidate network see value in having a conversation with you if they don't feel a job move is imminent. So therefore, your ability to extract market insights, leads, general MI that enables you to map effectively into clients. So again, if we go back to my initial point, which is this is what I know, that is a little bit harder if you've got candidates, good candidates in particular, shutting you down. So you have to work a little bit harder and make that more of a success. Do that by being really market segmented. If a candidate truly believes whenever that time comes, you're the best person to represent them in whatever market it is that they are specialist in, and they feel that you're in their circle of trust, they're more likely to engage with you and have a conversation with you. That's what you need to fuel really good client work.
I've seen a couple more questions come in. If we don't get time to cover them off, we'll answer them after because they're on LinkedIn and YouTube. So I'll tag Charlotte in them and we'll come back to them. But if we've got time, I will cover them off. Let's go to the final question then. So we talked about what could go wrong. What is the key activity a 360 recruiter should pay attention to every single day?
Yeah, who can you meet? Okay, so again, taught this years and years and years ago, but communication with purpose, right? So if you think there is a chance that you will gain something valuable, there is no guarantees, right? But if you think there's a chance that you'll gain an introduction, some insights, some job leads, some industry related leads, or just generally that person is a good person to meet them, take the time, trust me, human to human interaction wins everything. I think treat every conversation, like my analogy on this one, bear with me because I am known for my shit analogies. There's some friends on this call. Hopefully they're not laughing too hard. But treat every conversation like a scratch card, right? You're not going to win off of every single scratch card. You're not going to win big off of every single scratch card. But if you don't buy the bloody scratch card, you're going to get nothing in the first place. Don't condone gambling in any way. It's just an analogy. Yeah. Research is key. So again, come into every day like you're a nobody and work hard to become a somebody, because even if you're accomplished in your market, there are still key stakeholders out there that you are a nobody to. So just be humble in that moment. And I think database adoption is really, really key. I see it as an enabler, a facilitator, because again, if we're constantly thinking about how can I better position myself to ring somebody and provide value, you have to have a storage system. You have to have somewhere to put that stuff, because the human brain can only hold so much. The recruiter human brain can probably hold a little bit less than the average. So we have to have a system, and we have to love our databases to ensure that when we're ringing somebody up, we know why and what it is that we're selling. Combine that with
the little nuggets. Like when people say, "Oh, I remember it all. I don't need to put notes in. I can remember it all." That is bullshit, because you can't remember all that stuff.
Yeah, agreed. There's just no way. And if you think you can, it means that your network isn't big enough, right? So again, if you're trying to build more, or you're trying to create more opportunity, or if you're saying to yourself, "Oh, I'm just not getting any wins," well, you're going to need more. You need a bigger network, and then you can start drilling it back. But you need a database for that, because as the data gets a little bit bigger, the integrity will get a little bit thinner. So use the database to help you with that. I'm a big fan and a big driver of database adoption.
Yeah, no, and I think that is one of the key activities that, like, it annoys me when I go into agencies or just people in general in recruitment saying, "Oh, well, recruiters aren't very good at admin." And it's like, you can't blanket approach that to everybody. And the more you start saying that around your consultants, they'll think, "Oh, I don't have to do admin because, I'm not very good at it." I think it's something that, like you said, it's a tool and it's going to help you with your candidate and client conversations and needs to be used. It's only as good as
It's
the
your
information that's in
business.
there.
It's your business. You know,
Yeah,
we have to view our units, and we have to take absolute pride over how we are building our business. That requires data. Like, also, don't be so, you know, bloody arrogant. If you want to be successful in life, what you think you're going to do that out of a few sticky notes and some Outlook diary invites and you're going to become a success? Like, grow up, mate. Like, you need a system. And if your training providers or your managers are giving you that system to be able to do that, follow it, and follow it religiously, because it's a proven theory. And just to confirm, database adoption isn't KPI management. They're two different things. But, you know, as an individual, if you're an individual listening to this call, like, what's your system to be able to sell consistently in an accomplished way with good timing? You know, have a system, use a system, and make sure that you replicate that time and time over and over again. Then it's scalable, and then it's profitable. And that's what we all want as
yeah,
recruiters.
yeah. No, 100%. Before I come to your top tip, I'm just going to do a quick roundup of the next episode. Hopefully, I will be in full health by this point. So I've got Jackie Reese on with me on Wednesday, the 1st of May. I cannot believe it is May in 2 weeks. Normal time, 12:30. Now, this is going to be a really interesting session. She's from Recruitment Juice, and we're going to be talking about how to get access to government funded recruitment training, which Jackie is an expert in. So, yeah, she'll be joining me on the 1st, and we'll delve really deep into that subject. But I'm going to come back for your top tip now. And I'm a big fan of this. Don't ignore your brand. Explain what you mean on this one.
Well, it's 2024. We do absolutely everything on our phones. Habitual, like, login. The first thing we probably go onto is LinkedIn. In the background, let alone with what we're touching, there are algorithms working and working and working on all the data points, all the dwell times, and everything that we connect to. So we have to understand that in this day and age, a customer is far more likely to engage with you if they know your logo and if they know who you are as an individual and what you represent, right? So
Yeah.
it just goes back down to how you build your brand, your reputation. You know, back in the day, it would have been recommendations and referrals. Now you can get that shit everywhere and people can see it. So I think if you want to make one change after listening to this, it's, you know, grow your connections, understand and research. Don't just, you know, post a photo of a coffee and a nice bit of cake and say busy day. Like, what value can you
Think
bring
about what
to,
you're doing.
yeah, what
Yeah.
can you do? Don't be afraid to be personal in that, because people buy from people. So there has to be an element of, I really love my job and I really work hard in this space, and I really am driven by bringing value to the people that I think are reading this or scrolling past this. But also, this is who I am. And don't be afraid of showing people who you are as well, because ultimately, as recruiters, the reason a client will come back to you or a candidate will be honest with you is because they feel that they can, and you haven't given them the ick. You know, you're a nice person to talk to, you're a nice person to deal with, and they also think that you're all right at your job. If you can get that out there on the internet, you're going to make your life a hell of a lot easier. So get in
Yeah.
control of what your brand is and how you can scale and grow that.
What I say to the consultants that I work with is, look, at the end of the day, that client or that candidate will decide to work with you because they like you. It's not because of the agency name that you work for. They'll become familiar with it, of course they will, but they choose to work with you because they like you. You are the person they're dealing with. So you have got to build a brand within a brand of the agency that you work with. And it's sounding like you. You know, don't ask ChatGPT to write all your posts so you sound like a robot. Like, add some some personality to the things that you
Yeah.
do, because then people will feel familiar with you and then choose to work with you. So I'm glad you brought that up, because I feel like I bang my head against a brick wall with this a lot of the time. I think people think I say it just because I do it for fun, but it works. It
Yeah.
100% works.
There are
Fab. Well,
1 billion subscribers on LinkedIn now, and
that's
50%
insane.
of those subscribers log into the platform weekly. So it's half a billion people are actually genuinely active. So I'll leave you with that stat.
That mic drop moment. Right, we've come to 1 o'clock, so we're at the end of the show. Like I said, anyone that put comments in, we will come back to. It's just we ran out of time, so didn't have time to cover them all off. I'm going to go back to bed because I feel horrific. But thank you everyone for watching today. You can stream this on YouTube if you want to watch it again. So if you go onto my YouTube channel, this will be there. You can watch it as many times as you like. Connect with Charlotte. Also, I would highly recommend you connect with her on Instagram. What's your handle again
All
on
things
Instagram?
recruitment.
Yeah. So if you want an
Yeah.
idea of how to create your own personal brand, go on Charlotte's Instagram and look at how she's done it, because she's built an amazing profile on not just Instagram, LinkedIn as well. But if you're thinking about the different social media platforms, you need to be doing something like that. Thank you so much for coming on, Charlotte. And
No
I will
worries.
see you all soon.
Thanks all, and I hope you feel better soon, Kate.
Oh, so do I. See you all soon. Bye.